Come on, here we go. Boom. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We sliding in here tonight, kind of sneaking in. Coach Neighbors, Advocates for Justice, Foreclosure Defense, Paralegal Service. We are different and we prove it. Welcome tonight, guys. We're going to do we're going to do another team meeting tonight and talk about something that came up today. I want to make sure that we get it on the table so you guys can, if anybody's facing this problem, you'll have a game plan. Hang on one second. Okay, so we got a couple of people here tonight. Welcome. I'm Coach Neighbors, and I approve this message. Okay, I haven't been watching too much TV. I just been hearing too much TV. So tonight we're going to have a team meeting again and talk about some things that came up. One thing that came up that I thought was pretty important. So I wanted to go ahead and get it on the table so you guys uh, can deal with it if you have to. You'll have a game plan for it. So let's just get everything lined up here so we can get started. So a motion for additional time to respond. Now, you guys have the option to do that. Attorneys do it all the time, especially when you back them in the corner. In this case, we have a team member who was in a natural disaster and her electricity has been shut off for several weeks and her kids missed a bunch of school. So, I got to thinking there's probably going to be a lot of people that are facing this problem, whether it be a flood like in Oklahoma or a hurricane or a fire or whatever. So we want to put together a real quick game plan for that, and a way that a game plan you can use to handle this problem if you're facing it. So you have the option to request more time to respond. So first off, I want to say we never answer. Okay, when you answer, that means that you're going to reply to everything they're saying, and that's not what we do. Okay, we don't answer, we respond. And when I say respond, that means that we're going to respond. And we're going to respond by countering their BS with your challenge to jurisdiction. That's what we're going to do. And if you guys have done your research on how to state a claim for relief, if you've done your research, you will know that in stating a claim for relief in the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, you have the option to get your defenses on the table before you answer to their BS. Now, they don't tell you that in the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure that the number one defense you should be getting on the table is your challenge of jurisdiction or your jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit, because they can't respond by counter affidavit because everything they're doing is fraud. They don't tell you that. You have to figure that out. Now, jurisdiction can be challenged at any time up to 15 years, and that's noted right in the document. So keep that in mind. You can challenge jurisdiction anytime. They serve you some crap. What I would do is first off, I'd file my wrongful foreclosure / breach of contract lawsuit, and I would use that lawsuit, file stamp copy of that lawsuit, to challenge court's jurisdiction with, in addition to your jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit. If you invest in an online course, you would have all of that stuff available for you to use when you need it. So that's what we want to do with that. Now, I would structure a motion for extra time to reply because of the disaster, and I would attach an affidavit with pictures of the damage to your motion as an exhibit to show that you have standing to request the extra time. And most people don't realize you can do this, but you can ask for extra time. Now, we don't just ask for stuff. We try to take some stuff too, and I'll tell you about that here in a few minutes. Now, I would remind the court that you filed your jurisdictional challenge in state court, and the attorney failed to respond by counter affidavit. Yep, that's what I would tell them. You want to always be taking a shot down the field. And I would do an oral request for the judge to dismiss the case, or just a request if you're this is if you're in court. But now with the COVID-19, a lot actually what they're doing is having you do this stuff on Zoom, so you still can do an oral request for the judge to dismiss the case, because of the fact the attorney cannot respond by counter affidavit to the issues out of fraud outlined in your jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit. Now, the reason you do this as an oral request is because you don't say anything about that you're going to do this until you get on the hearing or whatever. And then when you do an oral request, you're actually putting it on the record. And that becomes more of a problem for them to ignore you. So once you get into court asking for or you have the hearing or whatever, asking for additional time, then you can do an oral request to dismiss it, or you can just do it in your thing. You don't have to do the oral request. You can just move it right in your document that you structure, that you are demanding the judge to dismiss the case because of the fact that attorneys did not and cannot respond by counter affidavit to the issues of fraud outlined in the jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit. Now, the only thing that I would be discussing with these people is the facts in the jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit. You don't want to let them, they don't want to talk about that stuff, okay? So you don't want to let them get away with switching the switcheroo and talking about a bunch of other crap. Anytime you go into foreclosure court arguing the banking system, you're going to get hosed, and you need to go home and pack your stuff up into storage. Because if you don't, if that's your game plan, you're going to be struggling in the end. And when they show up to set you out, a lot of times they lock the doors, or they'll show up while you're gone to work and lock the doors and lock all your stuff up in there. Yeah, it's a mess. So you want to make sure that you don't put yourself in that position to have to be worrying about all of that. And you do that by stepping up in the beginning, with the documents you need to make them go sit down. So I would also file a file stamp copy of the notice of default with the court to show that you have standing to be demanding the judge rule in your favor. Now, basically what you're going to do is you're going to go into court asking for a continuance. And then in that same document, you're going to ask for some other stuff too. You're going to ask that judge dismiss it. And you're going to ask, and when you attach a file stamp copy of your jurisdictional challenge of the motion to show that the attorneys didn't respond, what you're doing is kind of like making a little mini bench trial kind of a thing, okay? Because judge's gonna look at all your stuff and like, well, you can do whatever you want. You can ask the court for whatever you want, anytime. And if the judge denies it, now you've got all of those exhibits on the record in the denial that you can take with you to your appeal, and also use in your lawsuit in federal court. And one of the advantages to filing their jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit is that when they can't respond to it after you file your lawsuit in federal court, you can use their non-response as evidence to show that federal court don't need to have a hearing and go through all of that stuff. Because if they couldn't respond to your jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit properly in state court, then they're not going to be able to, what they're doing is they're admitting everything that you're saying in the affidavit is true if they don't argue that it's not. And you use that in your favor in federal court. And I would demand the court in federal court order a settlement hearing because of the fact that you have evidence, file stamped evidence to show that they were not able to respond to your jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit on a state court level. So, and kind of wrap this up real quick because I didn't want to take too long tonight. In conclusion, well, let me check and see if I have any questions before I do the conclusion. So, Ali, our Borgino business, is asking, can you do corporate case after they less pendants? I'm not sure what you mean, man. I'm not sure what you mean in your question. Can you do a corporate case after they less pendants? So I'm not sure what that means. So you have to be a little more clear for me to be able to answer your question there, buddy. Who's here tonight? I'm taking roll call. I need to know if anybody's late for practice. And they only got a few people. Hey, you're there, Grandpa and one. What's up? Hey, Kerry Jackson. Yeah, I thought I'd sneak in tonight and see who's paying attention, because the people who are coming on tonight are the ones that are really paying attention, because I was not planned. And that's the way it's going to roll. I also want to thank you guys on YouTube for supporting me. I am almost to the goal of having 4,000 watch time hours. And when that happens and YouTube hooks me up to host ads on my channel, then I'm going to lower the price of my lawsuit packages. Not the online course, though. The online course is the bomb, and it's already at half price at $1,200. So that's already half price. But the lawsuit packages, I want to lower the prices on them. How about a month now? Well, I don't know about discharging it to get back in your house, because you're talking about something that's not what I do in my program. But good luck with that. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, because I don't want to be on too long tonight. So in the conclusion of what we're talking about here, your goal, if you're facing a natural disaster and you're in the middle of foreclosure to fight or whatever, an attorney's trying to take advantage of you because you don't have power for 2 weeks. Okay, so your goal is to request the court to extend the time for you to respond, and note how much time you need in your request. Outline the issues in your jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit as the reason you have standing to request additional time to respond. And also the disaster that you're dealing with, because you can't respond if you don't have electricity. You will attach as an exhibit a file stamp copy of your jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit and the default document that you filed when they failed to respond. You'll attach those to your document, and you will demand the judge dismiss the foreclosure because the attorneys failed to respond by counter affidavit. So basically what you're doing, you're going to go into court and you're going to say, hey, I need some extra time. And while you got the attention, then you're going to go ahead and throw a Hail Mary down the field and ask the judge to dismiss it because they failed to respond in time. And you want to kind of set yourself up to get the record on the record that you're demanding to dismiss for when you file your document to get more time. So you're kind of being sneaky about it, but you can do it. Now, if the judge denies your motion for more time or your motion to dismiss or both, then you will be able to sue the judge for violating your rights and ruling without jurisdiction. Because when you file the jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit, the court don't have jurisdiction. And if the judge makes any decisions in there in the case and you got that document filed on the record, they're in trouble. Now, in the end, This is not going to be about the property, and pretty much because you have stacked it up on them, and they will need to cheat to stop you. And when they do, you'll be ready to jump up in the judge's face because we have the documents in the packet that you need when the judge tries to help them to make an issue out of it and get in the judge's face about it. You want to appeal it and file your motion for reconsideration first, and then you want to file your motion to recuse the judge, and then you have a notice of a claim to file against the judge, or you can make it a claim and take the notice out because the whole thing is the actual lawsuit. So, and then after you get all this stuff on the record, and you have to do this within 10 days because you have 10 days to file your appeal. After you get all of this stuff on the record against the judge, that's when I would do the appeal notice of appeal. And that'll force their hand because now they're going to be looking at, damn, they're going to be in the appellate court looking at all this dirt that they're doing down here. Uh-huh. And they think they're the only ones that's smart up in here. So that's how you do that. And pretty much any time that you get in court, you want to go ahead and ask to have the stuff dismissed, especially if you got the fire that we got up in here on the record, then that's what you want to do. You want to be asking to have your stuff dismissed right out the gate. And I actually have a video too on how to jam up the attorney in court, and it's on my video playlist. How to jam up the attorney in court. So you guys should check that out. And the last week I did a video, a week before last, maybe, I don't know. I did a video on how to state a claim for relief. I suggest that anybody that bought the lawsuit packages and is doing their lawsuit review that video and make notes and make the corrections to your document so that you can properly state a claim for relief. So that's all I got tonight, guys. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll be back here Saturday night. Yeah, we'll be back on Saturday night. I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but we'll be talking about something. Oh, let me give myself a thumbs up. So you guys all watching, make sure you give me a thumbs up if you like my presentation. And don't forget to subscribe and like, and make sure that you ring that bell down there somewhere so you get notifications when class is ready to start. Here we go. Okay, there we go. That is the best document that you can use if you're facing foreclosure, judicial foreclosure. If you're facing a non-judicial foreclosure, the jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit is the best document that you need to use in eviction court to block the eviction process. And I would take the information out of that document and use it in a foreclosure document for in your lawsuit against them in a non-judicial. So that's it. See ya.